just taking accountability for what happens.
Hold on a second. First of all, I don't have to be accountability for a whole race, do I? Why do I have to be accountable for the white race?
In this video, conservative commentator Charlie Kirk engages in a heated debate with college students over issues of race, accountability, and social responsibility. One student confronts Kirk, asserting that, as a white man, he has a moral obligation to speak out against racism. Kirk challenges this view, questioning why individuals should be held accountable for actions committed by others simply because they share the same race. He critiques what he calls the pitfalls of identity politics and argues that society should emphasize personal character over group identity. As the exchange intensifies, it becomes clear that the debate goes beyond surface-level on deeper themes of personal responsibility, national unity, and the role of media in shaping public perception. The conversation highlights stark ideological divides and raises difficult but necessary questions about how we can move forward together.
I just want you to answer this one question. Do you understand that as a white man, you do not have to apologize for being white? You just have to acknowledge the racism that happens around you. That is all.
What racism happens around me?
Let's say that a racist police officer shoots me, right, and kills me, right? For you to be a white man and you see that and don't say anything about it, I believe that my community would be upset about that. Now, all you have to do as a white man, you don't have to get on the internet or on Twitter and say, I'm sorry for being white, but you should at least acknowledge the racism that happens around you.
Okay, well, yeah, if an individual act of racism happens...
That is just taking accountability for what happens around
Hold on a second. First of all, I don't have to be accountability for a whole race, do I? Why do I have to be accountable for the white race?
For yourself.
Right, so if I'm racist, I'll take responsibility for that.
You probably are not racist, but...
Thank you. So then why do I have to comment on somebody else's racism?
But what you should do is take accountability for the racism around you. Not pretend that it doesn't happen around you. Like, again, the example that I gave you, that if I was shot by a police officer and you found out that person was racist, right? Now,
what you said take responsibility. How can I take responsibility for somebody else's actions?
What you should do is just take accountability and say, hey, yes, that was racist, instead of saying, no, that officer wasn't racist.
Well, hold on. You got to show me an instance and example, but we're talking about such a micro problem that doesn't exist. Do you know that a black person is 18.5 times more likely to shoot and kill a police officer than a police officer is to go and shoot an unarmed black man?
But is that the question that I asked you?
No, you asked a hypothetical about if I'm going to take accountability for a racist police officer. But man, you understand, if I inverted it on you, would you take accountability for all the blacks killing police in America?
Or each other?
No, would you? No. Why don't you take accountability for all the blacks killing police in New York?
I wouldn't take accountability for it, but what I would say is, yes, there are a lot of black people in my community who do dumb things to other black people and to other white people. What I would not do is just pretend that it doesn't happen, so that, like I said, you as a white man has to do the same thing.
During a tense exchange with a college student, Charlie Kirk firmly rejects the notion of collective guilt based on race. He challenges the idea that individuals should be held accountable for the actions of others simply because they share the same racial background, arguing that this mindset fosters division rather than unity. Kirk insists that responsibility should be judged on individual actions, not group identity. To support his stance, he cites statistics aimed at questioning mainstream narratives about police violence against Black Americans. Flipping the conversation, Kirk asks the student whether they feel personally responsible for crimes committed by others of their race. When the student replies no, Kirk highlights what he sees as a clear double standard. This moment underscores his broader argument. Assigning blame based on race is unjust and counterproductive. Unable to reconcile their differences, the student ends the conversation and walks away. The focus then shifts to another student, eager to step into the debate.
Calling it racist till you control it. I mean, I'm defining critical race theory in the modern American context as that. We can go back to Herbert Marcuse's One-Dimensional Man or Jacques Derrida or Michel Foucault, but the most agreed upon academic theory is Intro to Critical Race Theory, 1991 by Derek Bell.
Yeah. Wait, but
Are you familiar with that literature?
well, yeah, I've read the book, but I don't remember anything about it. It was for like a college class. Like, let's be honest, nobody remembers the books they read in college.
Sounds like a great value proposition to go to college.
Nah, it is, trust me. But like, well, but you didn't go to college, so I guess you wouldn't know.
It's true, I didn't. So let me ask you though, does that mean that I'm not able to have this conversation with you? Because I actually remember the book and you didn't, and you paid for it.
So, first of all, I didn't pay for it. There's these things called scholarship.
Oh, so somebody else paid for you not to remember the book that you were supposed to read. Oh, some wealthy donor or taxpayer paid for you to not remember the book.
I have a question. Who are your wealthy donors?
Many of them are in this room. Thank you guys for your wonderful support, by the way. We have over 130,000 grassroots donors at Turning Point USA. 130,000. I think we have some people in the back that chip in $5, $10, $15. God bless you, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. We are a grassroots funded operation. But let me give you another example. I'll give you 5 things that critical race theory believes. Number 1, the notion that racism is ordinary and everywhere. Number 2, the idea of interest convergence, otherwise known as intersectionality. Number 3, the social construction of race, meaning that there is a social construction around race in our society. 4, idea of storytelling and counter storytelling. Number 5 is that no matter how hard you work, no matter how hard you do, you cannot remove racism from your society. Those are 5 pillars of critical race theory based on Derek Bell's Intro to Critical Race Theory. Does that ring a bell?
Charlie Kirk delivers a critical take on critical race theory, CRT, tracing its origins to legal scholar Derek Bell's work in the early 1990s. He breaks down CRT's core principles, beginning with the idea that racism is not just about individual prejudice, but is embedded in laws, institutions, and social systems. Kirk explains concepts such as interest convergence, the belief that racial progress only occurs when it aligns with the interests of those in power, and intersectionality, which examines how overlapping identities like race, gender, and class shape people's experiences. He also outlines CRT's argument that race is not a biological fact, but a social construct shaped and sustained by societal forces. Another central element Kirk highlights is the emphasis on storytelling using personal narratives of discrimination to challenge dominant cultural and historical narratives. CRT, he notes, contends that racism is not something that can be eliminated simply through individual goodwill or isolated actions. Instead, it's seen as a persistent and structural force influencing everything from policy to everyday life. While presenting these ideas, Kirk maintains a sharply critical stance. He questions CRT's conclusions, challenges its growing influence on public discourse, and expresses concern that it may foster greater division rather than promoting unity or meaningful progress.
What was the third point? My mind is dying.
The social construction of race?
The social construction of race. Do you not think that race is at least partially socially constructed?
Depends how you define it.
So, like, what defines where one race ends and where one race begins?
Depends who you're asking. I think race is completely and totally irrelevant. Do you think race is relevant?
No.
Okay, then why are we talking about race all the time, and why are we talking about critical race theory?
Well, you brought it up at first when you were doing your speech.
Right,
so,
remember I said it was a lie from the pit of hell that we should repudiate and stop talking about all the time? You're on scholarship?
Sorry, what?
Nothing. Sorry, go ahead.
So, to answer your question, I don't think that race means anything, and I guess you don't either, right?
Yeah.
Right, so then why do you keep bringing up race whenever you're on or speaking on a stage? I am not speaking on a stage bringing up critical race theory. You are.
No.
So.
I'm bringing up how critical race theory destroys society and how we shouldn't talk about race all the time.
Okay, but you're bringing up race.
Critical race theory, not race.
Okay, so what's the second word in that?
Yeah, it's race, but it's a theory of how to view race, which is a mind virus pathogen destroying America, of which I said again, just to re-emphasize for those in the back, we could replay the tape, we'd throw the red flag, we'll watch it over again. I said that what? Race means nothing. I care about your actions, your character, and most importantly, your...
Charlie. Kirk didn't hold back during his debate with a college student on critical race theory, CRT. He pressed the student to explain their understanding of CRT, arguing that it promotes a victim mentality by framing racism as a built-in feature of everyday life. When the student brought up the idea that race is a social construct, Kirk pushed back, insisting that race shouldn't dominate how we interpret society. He went as far as calling CRT a mind virus that trains people to see the world primarily through a racial lens, something he believes creates more division than unity. Instead, Kirk advocated for a focus on individual merit, character, and personal responsibility. In his view, placing too much emphasis on group identity, especially racial identity, gets in the way of real progress and shared values. Wrapping up his remarks, he stated, "CRT doesn't solve problems, it deepens them." He called for a move away from identity-based ideologies and toward a society grounded in unity, accountability, and common purpose. His message was clear. Meaningful change begins with what unites us, not what sets us apart. So, what's your take? Did this debate shift how you think about these issues?